Welcome back to the Raiders franchise here on Madden 26. Last episode, we ended things off by getting ourselves out of 2025 into the Super Bowl on the cusp of moving into our first offseason, trying to start rebuilding this really, really, really poor team. I think regression may have kicked in now. Geno's down to a 68. This is obviously not what we want to be seeing. We have not even seen regression kick in. Why did he get XP for throwing 15 interceptions? What? This game. It's a little bit bizarre. But we are going to start moving ahead and try to fix this team a little bit. Obviously, I don't think we're going to do it all in one off season, but we're going to try and make our way through here and make as much of an impact and get as many good football players as we possibly can. So without further ado, let's go ahead, jump off and see what the off season holds for us as we simulate the Super Bowl with the Lions taking on the Patriots. The Lions winning 23-20. We have some retirements here. Kevin Zeitler, Aaron Rodgers, Cam Hayward, Cam Jordan, Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson. Okay, we got some retirements. I don't think anyone's going to be retiring from our team. Let's just check real quick. Philip Dorsett. A Landon Roberts. No, I wanted a Landon back. Well, now we really need some linebacker help. My goodness. Okay. But Lockett's gone and Raheem Mostert is gone. Okay, so Landon Roberts retiring actually is a pretty big loss for us. Mock Draft 2 is available. Let's go ahead and see if this has changed our selection in any way. I still see Ben Ross going first overall, and we are still projected to take a quarterback, and it is still Owen Cousins. We have 90% completion on him now, and I have done some looking at the draft class and do have a couple of opinions. I need to do some more looking now that we have a lot more information about these guys. But I have been able to take a look at the quarterbacks and a couple other guys that we had some more information on. You can see here that I have 5 favorites. I didn't get to go through a bunch of the class. We didn't have a lot of information about most of them, but I was able to get a decent chunk of info on a few quarterbacks and then 2 other players that we'll dive into. But these quarterbacks, definitely not the kinds of players that I think are worth a top 5 selection for us. Owen Cousins drops down to a round 1 to 2 talent. He does show some nice physical ratings, and some of the ratings that I really do care about with the quarterbacks are throw on the run and throw under pressure, which he does have A ratings in those. But the talent grade, round 1 to 2, he's more of a guy that, you try and jump back into the first round for. And then these other 2 here, Forrest Valentine and then Tim Hammond, they're kind of similar, right? They're similar. We can't see just their passing grades here, but Valentine, he has good throw under pressure, throw on the run. The play action graded a B does make me pretty happy. The break sack and an A is good. Round 2 to 3 talent, though. Not quite sure about that. And then Tim Hammond, very similar kind of skill set here. Another very solid athlete. He's got good throw on the run, good throw under pressure. The awareness and break sack being an A is interesting. But I just really don't know if quarterback is where I want to go to start this year. Even the top quarterback here, Al Reese, is a round 1 to 2 talent. This does bring me to one of my favorite players that I've found so far, though, and that is guard Steve Holloway. 6'6", 340 pounds. I want some big guards. I think the NFL has really started to embrace the fact that big guys can play tackle, and not just big in weight, but big in height. And I'm going to be trying to run a power-heavy scheme. We will have outside zone and under center stretch plays, but we're going to be running a lot of power, counter, duo, which I think is the best run in the game. And a guy like Holloway really kind of fits that. You see, he's got the impact blocking, the pass protection. the awareness, and he's not a bad athlete, right? His acceleration coming in at great to good. We will see what that looks like once the combine hits, but he's a good enough athlete that I think that he can pull and can run and get those combination blocks going in the zone running game. The only thing that I really want to see here is what's that run block come in at. If it's an A, I love it. And it's not a flashy position. I think we could probably trade down and maybe get him while picking up some draft capital, but I think drafting Steve Holloway could be hitting a solid double with your first at bat. And then Christopher Faulkner at linebacker. He is on here because he's very athletic. He is big, 243 pounds for a linebacker is very big in the modern NFL. And then elite change of direction and speed got my attention. The rest of the ratings, pretty good. I don't think this is I think it's the same thing where B zone coverage for outside linebackers doesn't really mean much. It could be a rating as low as like in the 60s. So I'm not going to pay too much attention to that, but he does come in as a round 1 to 2 talent, which I definitely like. But we'll get more information about these guys as we get closer to the draft and we have some actual testing numbers for them. It's time for us to evaluate our staff, and I can tell you for sure, defensive coordinator Roy Walker, he's safe. You know what? He impressed me with his ability to game plan down the stretch. He had the excellent game plan against CJ Stroud and the Texans, and he did his thing. So you know what, Roy Walker, he came with the place when we came in, and he's going to be sticking around. Now, Rod Sterling, our offensive coordinator, this is, I guess, real-life Chip Kelly, I'm not feeling the same way. I think that we want to move on and get ourselves a new, better offensive coordinator. So let's go ahead and see what's available. Okay, I actually think I'm going to come back here and hire Brandon Starks. He has the most amount of things that I'm looking for here. Quarterback accuracy on the run and outside the pocket. We are going to be running some play action, so I do care about that. And then he's got a good play action rating here. He's also got +7 awareness for the offensive line. That's valuable. Awareness does play a big role here for the O-line. And then a good outside running ability. And then he does have the +5 XP % for quarterbacks. So let's go ahead and hire Brandon Starks. Okay, moving on to the next stage here. And I think this is when we're actually going to get to do some negotiating. We have $151 million in cap space. But first, we have a storyline about staff improvement. It's Roy Walker, my man. Hoping to get your opinion on how I can improve as a coach. You know what, Roy? You do whatever's best for you. Is there an option? Stop the run, lock down the passing game. I mean, the only guy that we really care about on our defense for development is Darian Porter. So I guess we're going to go with locking down the passing game. Let's go ahead and do that. It's you and me, Roy. I got the offense, you get the defense. Master the cover 2? No. I guess we'll go with affecting QB time in the pocket. I'm not running cover 2 a lot. I'm not going to be the Packers. Especially if we're trading Maxx Crosby, we're going to need to boost up the pass rush. Before we can do anything else, we do have to take a look at negotiations and see who we want to bring back. Now, in real life, the Raiders have the least amount of players under contract for 2026, and we do have a pretty extensive list of free agents and guys that I would like to at least evaluate bringing back. But I mean, this is a very long list. Oh, Daniel Carlson, we definitely want to bring him back. I think we're actually going to start here with the kicker. Let's go ahead and see what we can get done here for him. I like Carlson. I think a 2-year deal is very fair for him. He is a pretty good kicker, and he signs. We get that deal done. That's a good start. You know, Eric Stokes, I like him. I mean, he's not that great of a player, but he's solid. The problem is, I just don't know if he fits what I'm trying to do, because I need a bit more really good man cover ability. He's very fast in a straight line, which makes him good for a zone style off coverage defense. You know, we're going to run a lot more match. That's going to turn into man, and I'm worried about how that agility could play into things, but we don't really have another answer at corner, and he doesn't want a ton of money. He wants $5 million over 2 years. I think we could probably do that and get that deal done. Yeah, you look at our other corner depth. I mean, we need someone else. I mean, Darian Porter could probably be CB2, but we need someone else. And this cornerback free agency class isn't really it. We'll come back to Eric Stokes. He's someone I definitely want to think about. Going to withdraw offer from Jamal Adams. I'm not too interested. Dylan Parham. He's not interested in coming back. I do like Parham, but he doesn't really fit what I'm trying to do. He's not really that kind of mauling guard. He's more of a zone blocking guard. And he doesn't want to come back anyway, so it'll probably be cheaper to get him back on the open market if we can, so we'll turn that offer down. Tyree Wilson, I am not going to accept that 5th-year option for him. We're not going to do that. He's going to play out his last year on his contract next season, and we'll see what happens after that. My goodness, looking at these players that are available, just no one here catches my attention whatsoever. Is Carter Runyon the long snapper? No, it's Jacob Bobenmoyer. Can we bring back our long snapper at least? No. Okay. That's off to a great start in free agency. And I think this 2-year deal is pretty fair for Stokes. I think this is a very fair offer. And he's back. Okay, so we do have a plan here at corner, at least on the outside, with Stokes and Darian Porter. We need to figure out the slot. Actually, no, we don't. Because the guy who's been playing a ton of slot corner for the Raiders and has been playing very, very well is Jeremy Chin. So he's listed as a safety, but that's not what he's been doing. He's been playing in the slot, and he's been fantastic at it this year. And I think that's exactly what I want to do moving into next season, is keep him in the slot doing what he was doing. So corner, I think we're okay, actually. Safety, we most certainly are not. We need to figure that out, and along with a plethora of other positions. So we're going to be very busy in this free agency period trying to make some moves. Let's take a look at this free agency class. We see Travis Kelce is the best player to hit. This is a weak free agency class. Who's the young stud? Quentin Lake? Cameron Curl? Man, alright, we're going to have to do some bargain hunting. Let's go ahead and take a look position by position and see what we can find. At quarterback, Daniel Jones does hit free agency, and as interesting as it would be to bring him in, I don't think that's actually going to help us whatsoever. He wants to come and play for us, but I just don't think that this is a move that's going to help us do anything. Justin Fields is interested. I am most certainly not. And then there's really nothing else at quarterback. Zach Wilson. It's looking like we're either drafting someone or we're sticking with Geno. We do have maybe the ability to look at the trade market, but the rest of these guys are just backups, and I'm really not that interested. Davis Mills hit. I like Davis Mills. Davis Mills has proven that he can play. He's not the best quarterback in the world, but I mean, I don't think you can go into next year with Geno. And he's shown more than anyone like Sam Howell. I like the Davis Mills idea. Now, I'm not going to offer to him right now because we have bigger fish to fry at this point, and he'll still be available for a bit, but I like that idea. One position we actually need to look at is fullback. I'm planning on using a fullback a decent amount this franchise, so we definitely need to find someone who I think can hold the position down. I haven't actually looked at the draft class to see if there's a good fullback, but it is something we're going to need to take a look at and make sure that we have. You know what? Our receiving core too. I just don't think that wide receiver is the place we want to spend the money. I like our receivers. They need to get a chance to play. And I don't think anyone here is really going to steal the show. Tight end, I don't think anyone here is better than Michael Mayer. The O-line is really where we're going to be spending most of our effort here. My goodness, this is a terrible free agency class. This is really bad. Baron Browning, man, I like Baron Browning. He might have a bit of coverage rating to him too. He was a linebacker. Because our defensive scheme, I want to have my edge rushers be a bit more stand-up guys. Right? So maybe a bit smaller, a bit faster. Baron Browning is a decent move. See, in real life, he's signed through 2026. But I like this. I like this offer. It gives us something here. Because I don't think Tyree Wilson's just not really the guy. He's not really the guy for this kind of scheme. I mean, he could be like a 4-eye or like a 5-tech and like play a bit in penny. But I don't think Tyree is a stand-up edge. But Baron Browning, that's a pretty strong offer. We'll put that forward. We do have to think about filling linebacker since Landon Roberts left. We might have to spend some money here to get one of these guys in. Cody Barton's developed pretty well. I mean, could do a lot worse than Cody Barton. He's a pretty good player. I mean, it's either him or Logan Wilson, and Wilson is he's slowing down. He's been hurt. Okay, yeah, Barton has an out in his contract in real life. He's under contract for 2 more years for a total cap of about $8 million. And I was thinking a 2-year deal is probably pretty fair. I think I'm going to do that. Something like this. The player-friendly deal, I think, kind of matches his production. I think that's a strong offer. Alohi Gilman, Alohi Gilman, he's just a dang solid football player. Alohi Gilman is just a really good football player. And at this point, that's what we need. We need really good football players. We just need darn good football players. And Alohi Gilman might just be that. Something like that. He doesn't like the length, but the money is good. Let's go ahead and get these offers evaluated. And see what we get. We had decisions from everyone except for Westover and Mills. We signed Gilman, we signed Barton. We do not get Baron Browning, it appears. Browning goes to the Patriots. Man, that's a big loss. I'm not happy about that. Not happy about that. But we do get Alohi Gilman and Cody Barton on 2 pretty favorable deals. I can do that. It's a solid start to making this defense at least respectable. Before I forget, I do want to put Maxx Crosby on the trade block and just see what the offers are that teams will give me. And I do want to run the trade finder one time with him just to see if my value proposition that I have is fair. See, the problem is in Madden, they do these kind of offers where they offer you players. I don't want players. I'm going to put an offer in here for Sean Tucker to be one of our backup running backs. Damian Martinez is really not that interested in coming back. I don't think I need to pay Tucker that much money. He's not going to be a starter. He's not going to take a lot of snaps away from Genty. Just needs someone who can play behind him. Arnold Ebiketie was my backup plan anyways at edge. We couldn't get Baron Browning, but Ebiketie I like. Spotrac says market value 3 years, $27 million. This is 2 years, 24. It's a pretty fair deal. pretty fair, I'd say. We'll make an offer here. Okay, let's go ahead and evaluate offers one more time here. Here are my 5 targets. I did add a long snapper here because we do need one. Let's go ahead and evaluate, see what we get. Decision was made for Arnold Ebiketie. He does not take it. So we are quickly running out of edge options here in free agencies. He goes to the Bengals. I don't have any other targets, so I'm going to go ahead and evaluate one more time, and then we'll be done with this stage. We got decisions. We get Jack Westover, a fullback, and Davis Mills, who is going to be competing to be our starting quarterback next year. So that's okay. I do like our 2 big signings here of Alohi Gilman and Cody Barton. Really upset we missed out on the edge signing. This is Khalil Mack signs with the Jets. That's a fun one. Moving into the second stage of the offseason. This is free agency 2. We have mock draft 3 available. Has anything changed here? It still has us taking a quarterback. I don't think we're going there. Right now, my favorite guy is the guard, Steve Holloway, who is down right now at 15. I really think he's just hitting the double if we draft him. Which means we could trade down, which is great. We could trade down and get more value. There's no one in free agency that I want to go after, I don't think. No, because we did get our long snapper. Yeah, I'm kind of free agent out. Okay, now that free agency is over, I've been able to take a good look at the draft class and find all of my players that I wish to target. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some of them going ahead and kind of what my plan is for the draft. Starting off, I really don't think this is a great draft class. I think there's a lot of talent here at the top and in the first 2 days of the draft, but I don't think that there's a lot of depth here and a lot of players that, say on rounds 4 through 7, that are going to be impact players. So I really prioritize looking at guys that are going to be on rounds 1 through 3. And I guess let's just start with the elephant in the room, which is the quarterbacks. I don't see any quarterback here that I think is truly a first round pick. And the game agrees with me, right? Everyone here is round 1 to 2 true talent, which is still draftable in that range. So I really think that I want to have 2 first round picks this year, which is where we get into the Maxx Crosby conversation. I have 3 quarterbacks that I like: Owen Cousins, Forrest Valentine, and Tim Hammond. And it's really simple for all of them. I really care about these 4 ratings, honestly, for quarterbacks: throw on the run, throw under pressure, break, sack, and play action. Right? I'm thinking if we're evaluating a quarterback realistically, I don't really care about how accurate you are. If you're playing at the NFL level, you likely have a strong enough arm and are likely accurate enough if you're projected to be a top pick. What we can't always evaluate is how do you play when the structure of the play breaks down, which is your ability to throw on the run and throw under pressure. So I really, really care about that A grade and throw under pressure. And then we go ahead and look at some athletic abilities here for, say, a guy like Owen Cousins out of Maryland, who is my QB1. He's very athletic. Very athletic. He has the athleticism that you really value at the quarterback position. He's got a really, very strong arm. He's got the tools that I like, and he's a round 1 to 2 guy, so he could probably be there at the back end of the first if I want to take a quarterback there. If I don't, however, then we have Forrest Valentine and then Tim Hammond. Hammond is my number 2 quarterback. He's still a good athlete and has a good arm. He shows some good change of direction ability to get out of trouble, which really fits that kind of improviser profile that he has. He's got the good throw under pressure, good deep accuracy. Size is nice, it's not everything at the quarterback position, but I really like the A awareness, break sack, throwing the run, under pressure. I really like Hammond. And in that round 2 to 3 spot, I think that's kind of the sweet spot for us. You know, I don't want to commit to drafting a QB in the first round when I don't love the class. And I feel like if we were going to draft a guy like Owen Cousins, we might have to take him early. And there are just other players on the board that intrigue me more than Cousins. If we get out of the first round into our second round pick, I think he's available. Now, if all else fails, we do have Forrest Valentine, and he is a pretty solid prospect, right? I do like the B play action. He doesn't have a big trait here with accuracy with with Cousins. With Cousins, it's that short accuracy. With Hammond, it is the deep accuracy. Valentine doesn't have that. Right, and he's around 3 to 4 talent, so more developmental. He's not a great athlete. He does have a very strong arm, however. And I could get behind drafting Valentine if things slide that way. Other than that, there's no one else here aside from one UDFA quarterback, Dalton Barton, who is actually a day 3 talent, who maybe we pick up as a UDFA. But that's quarterbacks. And then going ahead, running back, I didn't look at them really at all. We have Ashton Genty. This running back class isn't that great. And if we were going to get someone who I think has the traits to be a difference maker, it would have to be early. And I just don't see that as a good use of resources. My number 1 player, as I touched on earlier, now that I've gotten to scout him fully, is Steve Holloway. A 6'6", 343-pound guard. And the thing that Holloway really stands out at, he is just a rock solid guard. I mean, everything here is an A. Pass blocking, run blocking, awareness, impact block, lead block. The only thing that gives me cause for concern is the F injury. But even looking at his athleticism, I mean, this guy is a fantastic athlete. In fact, I plugged his numbers in to calculate a relative athletic score, which is a real tool that NFL teams use to evaluate athleticism. He comes out with a 9.84 out of 10, which essentially says that he's like a 98th percentile guard athlete out of anyone who's ever gone to the combine. So he's extremely athletic. I did scout him all the way with a private workout and got top 5 talent revealed on him. He's currently the 9th player on the board, but if we go take a look at the mock drafts, he's not projected to go. Well, I can't see the mock drafts. Okay. He wasn't projected to go until about 15th. So I think what we could do is trade back a little bit. Not much, but move back from 5 to maybe like 10, recoup a little bit of draft capital, and then we're going to be able to pick up a really, really solid guard talent. I'm not too worried about the injury. F injury normally means about 80 to 85, so it's not too crazy. And with the addition of the trainer that can actually help with wear and tear recovery, I think we'll be able to supplement around Steve Holloway and make sure that he's okay. My number 2 player that I have in this class is Arkansas safety Josh Turk. He is also a top 5 talent, projected to go between the end of round 1 and the beginning of round 2, so right where we're picking. But I think this is where I want to have my second first round pick, which is where a Maxx Crosby trade would come in. And I'm leaning more and more in the direction of wanting to trade Crosby and just get a fresh start, get a lot of draft capital. See, looking at Turk, I love the A-man coverage. The B zone is good enough. The tackling is fantastic. You know, I think that even though Jeremy Chin has really done a good job in the slot in real life, Turk, he could be either a slot or an excellent safety. I think that he is an amazing cover player. And then you look at his athleticism scores, and he is just as good as any safety that you will probably ever see. He comes out with a 9.42 RAS. The only thing that drags him down at all is his height, being 5'10". I mean, he's just a really, really good athlete. The size is made up for in his weight. He's strong, he can hit, he really can just do everything. And safety may not be the most valuable position, but when you got a player like this with top 5 talent, I just think that you have to ignore the positional value and just take the great football players. And we just need talent. So it's kind of nice because I don't have to worry about, is this a valuable position for us? Instead, we're just going to take the best players available. But the rest of the draft class really doesn't have a ton here. I have one wide receiver that I really like in Zaire Stapleton, who is 6'7", just insanely big with, a pretty decent athletic profile and then some good hands. So he is an option. I don't know if I want to take a wide receiver this early, but he is someone that I at least will entertain the thought of. I do like some of the interior offensive linemen a little bit later in the draft, kind of late on day 2. But then on the defensive side, I was really kind of a bit let down by the edge rushers. I do like Brendan Mays. He's listed as an edge, but I think he's 100% an interior guy. The block shedding, the power moves are really, really good. And then the athleticism does grade out very well if you think about him as a defensive tackle. I mean, a 310-pound defensive tackle who has a 4.85. That's really, really impressive. So I like Mays in that middle area of the draft. And then there are some defensive tackles that I do like. I think that Junior Walford's a guy who will probably be gone before we even entertain the idea of taking him. So that's why I start looking instead to a bit later in the draft. Mainly at guys like Jonathan Bramble, even like Tommy Donaldson, right? These two like nose tackle types. We could definitely get something going with them. There are some decent linebackers that I do like. Sergio Matias is kind of that guy. He's a day 3 projected round 2 to 3 talent. I like the zone coverage at an A. That's really, really solid. The tackling is good. And as an athlete, definitely good enough, right? I would definitely take that at linebacker. We definitely need another one if we're going to be comfortable moving into the season. We signed Cody Barton, but we definitely need one more guy. Now, I've already mentioned it a couple of times, but I think it is finally time that we really address the Maxx Crosby situation. And I've really kind of made up my mind. And I think I've had my mind made up for most of the series. I had an idea that Crosby was likely going to have to be traded if we're going to ever get this team to where they want to go. Just because of how much of a lack of talent there is here. And Crosby's a great player, but I don't think we can justify keeping him around when there's value to be had. And I think that, again, the 2 first-round picks that Micah Parsons brought in, I think that is a very fair trade. And as far as the team that I would like to move Crosby to, I think it's pretty obvious, and them just losing the Super Bowl kind of makes it even more obvious. It's the Patriots, man. This is a team that was on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. They couldn't quite get there. Their edge rush, Harold Landry, and they signed Baron Browning, but I don't think that's going to stop them from trying to upgrade and get a guy like Maxx Crosby in the building. Let's take a look at Landry. He had 8.5 sacks, but he's only under contract for 2 more years. I don't think that a guy like this kind of signing of Baron Browning is going to stop them from pursuing a guy like Crosby. The Seahawks with Crosby would be really scary. I think it's either the Patriots or the Seahawks who will give us that deal. And I think just to keep him out of the AFC, I think I'd prefer to trade him to Seattle. So they have the 24th pick right now. I think it starts at 2 1s. I have no idea if this is a deal that will actually go through, so I'm gonna kind of load this up just to see exactly what they're willing to give. Oh my, they actually almost did that. Okay. I'm glad that I loaded it up because, okay, I don't think 3 1s and 3 2s is necessarily fair. I'm gonna I'm going to bring this down back to 2 1s. I'm going to go do some research and see exactly what kind of deal is fair for a rusher like Crosby. Okay, so I found 3 trades regarding premier edge rushers within the last 20 years or so. First one was Micah Parsons, where the Cowboys received 2 1s and then Kenny Clark. I really don't think there's a player that would want to receive back. Well, now that I think of it, they do have some edge rushers. They do have some edge rushers. So they do have Boye Mafe. They do have Derek Hall. So I think like a trade with the Seahawks would probably look something like this. We get 2 1s and then like Derek Hall. I think this would most closely replicate the Micah Parsons trade. Now looking at some other trades, Khalil Mack, who was again traded from the Raiders, he got 2 1s, a 3, and a 6 from the Bears, but the Raiders also sent a 2 back, which I don't really want to do. I don't want to send a 2 back. I don't want to send any picks back, so I'm less tempted to do a trade like that. And then another trade that I did look at was Jared Allen when he was traded to the Vikings from the Chiefs. So Allen went for a 1, 2, 3s and then a 6th round pick swap. And you know, I don't think that trade really reflects it either. And part of the tough thing with Crosby is that the rest of these guys were looking for extensions and got signed as a part of it. Crosby's already on an extension, and a very affordable one at that. So I think that we might even be able to charge more value, and I think that's where the game was coming in, saying, oh, this is they would give me their next 3 first-round picks and second-round picks. So I don't think I'm going to do that. I think this is the base right here. 2 1s and then getting Derek Hall back. Maybe we can get a little bit more. And maybe if they have an extra pick later in the draft. They don't. These are all just their own picks. The thing is, though, I'm not looking to take advantage of the CPU. I think this is a very fair trade. 2 1s and then getting back a young edge rusher who's very solid in his own right, in Derek Hall. I think this is a deal that I would be fine with making, and I would be happy getting this kind of compensation back. I think 3 1s and 3 2s, I don't know if you could trade that for anyone. If anyone would be trading for that, it would be like Parsons, who was like 25. Not Crosby, who's at 29. And him in this Seahawks defense is just a really interesting matchup with having Crosby there. So I'm going to do this. We're going to trade Maxx Crosby for 2 1s from Seattle and then get Derek Hall back in return. And they accept it. All right. We are fully into the rebuild and into a new era of Raiders football. We have sent Maxx Crosby to try and get himself a ring. And also, I think he just looked really, really good in a Seahawks jersey. So this now puts us with these selections in the draft. We have 2 1s, 2 3, 2 4s, 2 6s, and a 7. So we have lots of draft capital here for us to move around. And now we're able to take 2 players in the first round. We're able to take a quarterback. If we find a quarterback next year, we have ammunition to move around there with 2 1s. I think this provides us a lot of options, and we don't have to try and fix everything in one foul swoop this year. So I do like the trade. I think we have nothing left to do here but actually hop into the draft and see how this whole entire thing plays out. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. Okay. Saints are picking number 1, and the mock draft has them taking an edge rusher. So let's see who the first pick is. It is Ben Ross, which is exactly what we expected for it to be. So nothing changes too much here. As we see the number 1 overall pick, Ben Ross, come out here. The edge rusher from UCF goes first overall in 2026. He was a speed rush guy. You know, I'm always very wary of guys like him that are just fast and have a good get off as far as being a first overall pick. But the Saints make him their first selection. The Giants up next go with Al Reese, the quarterback. So they go ahead. Hang on, I just put that together. Why did the Giants take a quarterback? Why would they do that? Jackson Dart just doesn't exist? Okay. I didn't even love Reese that much. That's an interesting selection there. Cleveland goes with Lamar Skinner. He's another edge rusher. The Jets were projected to go quarterback. Do they? They take Owen Cousins. Okay, so he goes very early, kind of like I expected him to. So we are not going to get our pick of my number one quarterback, which was Owen Cousins. But that's okay, because I do have a plan. I have a plan. Taking a look at our trade offers. The Bills want to move up. The Browns, the Texans, Vikings, Seattle. Seattle wants to give me their 2028 first. Okay, the Rams want to move up with pick 11. This is the pick they got from the Falcons. They would give me a 6 and a 4. That's not too bad, actually. If that's all I'm going to get, I think that's fine. I just need to take a quick look and see the other teams and if they would be interested in taking Steve Holloway. I'm a little bit concerned about the Cardinals and the Bengals possibly taking him. Their guard situations are not good. Everyone else I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about Washington, the Titans, or the Vikings, or the Rams for that matter. The mock draft had him going at 15, but I'm worried about the Cardinals and the Bengals taking him, and there's no one wants to come up. I mean, the Vikings want to come up, but if I could, let me talk to the Vikings. So right now, I'm taking a look at the draft value chart, and the difference between pick 5, which we have, and pick 8, which the Vikings have, is about 300, which is equivalent to pick 60. So that is a second round pick. So that's what I would need back from the Vikings to make this work. It's equivalent to pick 60. So the problem with the Vikings is that they don't have any picks. They don't really have much here. They're lacking a lot of mid-round picks. So I mean, what I would want back ideally would be like their 3. But then, I mean, would they really want to give me even more? What else were they offering in the trade? They're offering their 2, their 3, and future picks. Their future 1, my god. No, I don't like it. I'm gonna stick and pick. Steve Holloway. This is my move. It's my move. I like his game. The injury stuff is a bit concerning, but I just think that we have a really, really good player here. So I'm going to take Steve Holloway. And we get an A. Number 4 in true value, we drafted him at 5. And if we see here, he does have hidden development. Okay. That's great. 82 acceleration on a guy that big. That is insane. Now we're up again at 24, and my target is going to be... my target will be Josh Turk. He's ranked 43rd on the board, and there are a couple of safeties ahead of him, so I'm interested to see how this plays out. Is Goodell going to be here for everything? No, okay. Valentine goes. Okay, so they're just taking the quarterbacks. They are just taking them. Oh, this is interesting now because Hammond's the next guy. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to make it to 24 when we pick. Juan Green, it's a good corner going off the board to the Dolphins. Chiefs take Junior Walford to pair him with Chris Jones. That's a good pick. There goes Tim Hammond. Okay, so I did not go quarterback. I just didn't like them at that value of a top pick. And maybe I'm going to be wrong here. But I just didn't like the value. There goes Carter Mackey. 21 to the Texans. So Mackey was the top strong safety in the class. And we are up at 24. What are the offers? 35, 38, 39. Detroit at 32. They want to come up. That seems like a lot to come up. Philly at 27. I mean, it's a 3 next year and a 3 2 years from now. We get a 6 this year and then a 7th also next year, whereas the Eagles are willing to give me all picks next year. Yeah, let's go all picks next year. We'll drop down a couple of spots with the Eagles. They take Caesar Gabriel. All right, Cowboys are up. And then it's us. Oh my God. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, dude. I thought that a small trade down wouldn't kill us there. Oh no. Oh my gosh. That is so deflating. Gotta trade out here. I think that I want to get out of the first round entirely. Yeah, like this from the Texans is okay. I'll take that from Houston. To fall down. Oh my goodness. I feel like that happens to me so much where I have my guy and then the pick ahead of me, he gets taken. I still like Holloway, but man, that hurts. I think CJ Clayton is probably the guy I want to go with here. He's more of a traditional safety, not quite the slot monster that Turk was, but still a very, very good athlete. Clayton's RAS comes out to an 817. It's being dragged down a lot because of his size at 5'10", 196, but his explosive grade is really good. He is athletic enough. So I'm fine making that pick. Let's see. A bit of a deflating pick here. This is kind of our backup plan, but I still think it's a good player. I really would have liked, though, to get Josh Turk, and I'm kicking myself now for that trade down. And we didn't really get much in return of missing out on a really, really good player. 29 in true value, drafted at 37. I will take that. He has normal development. Not great, but a good enough athlete. He can certainly play. He can certainly play. And now we're up here again. So, looking at my favorites, in terms of who's going to go in this range, Zaire Stapleton, again, wide receivers is not much of a priority for me. We do have a center, but again, like, center is not much of a priority. I like Brendan Mays. I also like Ladarius Copeland at corner. I think I'm going to stick here and take Brendan Mays. 6'4", 310. And the athleticism's not impressive, but if you make him a defensive tackle, then we're talking about a whole nother realm of athleticism. Yeah, as a defensive end, Mays' RAS score comes out to a 7.58. But if we move him to defensive tackle, now it's a 9.42. With excellent size, and the explosiveness and speed is very evident with him. So I think I'm going to go ahead and actually stick and take Brendan Mays here. And he would be moved to defensive tackle. 50 true and true value. Took him at 38. Hidden development. That's all I care about. And he would be moving to defensive tackle, which we desperately need. There goes Christopher Faulkner. He was a really athletic linebacker to the Chargers. I liked him for a moment, but then he kind of fell off. Like, his ratings has never really caught back up again. There goes Copeland to the Rams. I was not going to move up that high for him. There goes Zaire Stapleton to the Saints, a 6'7" wide receiver. Okay, we are on the clock. Let's go ahead, and I already have my pick in mind. We are going to be selecting linebacker Sergio Matias. So, he's a day 3 projection, but around 2 to 3 talent, which I do like. Great size, young at 21 years old. The zone coverage at an A is very, very promising. And then for an athlete, definitely good enough for a linebacker. Matias's RAS comes out to a 6.82. However, this is mainly stemming from a poor height and then the shuttle, which is one of those ratings that EA doesn't really reflect well in their ratings. They don't do a great job of actually making sure that that reflects what the real shuttle times are. But I like Matias' skill set. I like him enough that we go ahead and take him here. Well, the War Room seems to like it, at least. There's Sergio. He's got the hat. Let's see. We make a good pick here. 74 in true value. Hidden development. All I care about. 85 speed. That's plenty at linebacker. That is plenty enough. He could play right next to Cody Barton. I'll take that. We're making the defense better. That's all I really care about at this point. On the clock here at 101 in the 4th round. My board has thinned out considerably. I only have 2 players left who are projected to actually go now on day 3. One is Terrell Carey, cornerback from USF. Good size at 6'2", 210. I like the man coverage ability. He looks to be a good enough athlete. We'll plug his RAS in a second, but he's got some catching, he's got some man coverage, he can return some kicks. Looks to be a solid day 3 corner prospect. Alright, comes out pretty good. 905 RAS, elite size grade. Agility's good, which for his size at 6'2", just having good agility is perfectly fine. And then pretty decent explosiveness, especially because we're not going to be using both our 3 corners all that much. I think a guy like him is Gonna be fine. Okay. Fast enough. Hidden development, though. I'll take it. I will take that. We've had a pretty solid draft so far. We pick again right here. And I think we're just going to keep this going. And we're going to take our quarterback. 4th round. Everyone else is a potential UDFA aside from Dalton Barton out of Youngstown State. 6'5", 224. A very big quarterback. Not much of a tester. However, we'll see what the RAS says. Yeah, Barton's certainly not going to wow you as an athlete, but the thing that does show me some hope for possible development is the throw on the run and throw under pressure ratings, which I do value at quarterback. Let's go ahead and take him. We have our young quarterback. 191 in true value. Normal development. I wasn't expecting anything other than that, but 74 speed, you know, he can play. He's got the bow tie going on. He's got some style at least. Next up here, we are going to be selecting Tommy Donaldson, a projected UDFA defensive tackle from Colorado. 6'6", 330 pounds with this athleticism. And I'm just going to say it right now. This is a perfect RAS score, a 10 out of 10, belonging to guys like Jordan Davis, Calvin Johnson, you know, the best of the best types of athletes. And Tommy Donaldson is one of them. And he has some nice skills to him, too. B-block shedding, finesse move, and power move. Play recognition is really good. I think this is a slam dunk pick, and I'm not letting him fall any further. 42 in true value. We get him at 119 with hidden development. Yeah. So we've made 2 huge moves on the interior of our defensive line. I think we've really focused on the defense and just building them up. The offense, I think, is okay, but the defense is really, really bad. And we've made a lot of moves to try and make them better. We have back-to-back picks here in the 6th round, and I've gone ahead and skipped all the way to our pick. Most of our targets are off the board, so I kind of just want to see what's left, and we're going to try and work our way around this as best as possible. We're going to be taking Eric Ramos here. He's a decent tackle prospect. In terms of his ratings, you know, nothing too spectacular. He's got B run blocking. He's massive. 6'9", 376 pounds, and when you consider that, he's a pretty good athlete to go along with it. Now, what does concern me about him is the agility. His RAS agility score comes back as very poor. So I do worry about his foot speed at tackle. But big guys like this have been able to succeed in the past. And maybe for him, losing some weight could help with that. But we're going to make the pick here. He's 215th in true talent. We've drafted like 3 former high school power forwards. He has hidden development, so I guess this is supposed to be like your developmental Jordan Mailata type of tackle. But man, he's going to need a lot of work in pass protection. Going to be taking Justin Richards here now. He's a UDFA projected receiver from Texas. He's got A catching, you know, great hands. I think he's probably some type of a slot receiver maybe. But then a really, really good athlete after that. Just solid. Does he have NFL speed? Has 93 speed. Yeah, I think he does. Last pick here is going to be guard Terry Weary. I really like the ratings, the A awareness, and then B pass block and run block is really, really solid. Plus, pretty good athleticism. I think this is a solid pick. You know, I think this is going to round out what has been very much a meat and potatoes draft. 68 in true value. Normal development. Okay. We needed offensive line help. And, I mean, he might be a starting guard for us also. So it's a very much a meat and potatoes draft, getting a lot of linemen, shoring up the defense, not a ton at the skill positions. But man, other than one big miss on Turk in the first round and not being able to get him, I'm happy with this draft in terms of creating the future of this team. All right, time to take a look at what this draft holds for us in terms of overalls. Steve Holloway, 82 overall. My goodness, he was 4th in true talent, and he's 82. So this class definitely had some top-heavy players. Holloway comes in, though, really, really solid ratings. We need to work on his ability to handle speed, but he will be able to handle... He's going to be able to handle power really well. CJ Clayton comes in at 76, so definitely not a bad consolation prize to get him over Turk. He looks like a really solid safety. You know, I think he's really solid. He tackles very well. We could have done a lot worse. I will take that. We then take Brendan Mays. He's a 74 at edge, but he's not going to be an edge. We're going to move him right now to defensive tackle and see what that rating becomes, because I think it's going to be a lot better. $75. Okay. Maybe I overhyped it a little bit too much. Sergio Matias, I'm really just intrigued to see what the coverage is, because he had A zone coverage. Yeah, it's a 63. But this can still play. This absolutely can still play. Terrell Carey at a 71. He could make a push to start. We signed Eric Stokes, but Terrell Carey, he kind of just looks like a Eric Stokes replacement, kind of. I'll take that. Then Dalton Barton, our quarterback selection. Nothing too crazy here, but he does come in, good throw under pressure, good throw on the run, you know. If anything, he's a solid backup quarterback. Tommy Donaldson, the freaky nose tackle from Colorado. We're going to change that number 61 for him, but man, that's just really solid ratings. Those are just really, really good ratings. I'm really happy we were able to do it. And we got Derek Hall in the Maxx Crosby trade, so not a bad pick at all. Eric Ramos, the pass protection needs a ton of work. He can run block, he can move forward. The question is, can we develop him to be able to move backward? Then Justin Richards. Okay, 84 catching is solid, a bottom of the roster receiver. And then we round this thing out with Terry Weary at guard, who comes in at 73. He might be starting. He could start. The pass protection concerns me a bit, but he could be starting. So overall, I think this is a really good draft. I think that we're going to see what we missed out on with Turk, and it may stop me from giving my grade of being like an A+ draft. 82. 82. Hidden dev, yeah. Oh, that's one miss. That is one big miss that I was not able to get him. I did see an 84 though for yes, Caesar Gabriel. The Eagles got him. He was really, really good. I didn't have him much on my radar. Probably because of the 85 speed, but put him in the box, he'd be awesome. 99 hit power, my goodness. I love it. And the only other player over an 80 was Ramon Payton, who the Bucks drafted. And he looks very good. But overall, I'm happy with the draft. I want to see the quarterbacks. So Al Reese was a 76 with Hidden. I'm just intrigued what they think of they're doing with Jackson Dart now. He was a 76 with Hidden. Owen Cousins was a 74, also with Hidden. And I think one of the big questions is, are we going to regret passing on quarterbacks? So Valentine was the guy that I wanted, or that I liked. He has normal. But that's actually a good pick to fit in the McVay system. He had the highest play action out of anyone. And then Tim Hammond. He was my guy that I liked a lot. 73 with hidden. We shall see. We shall see if I regret passing on one of these quarterbacks to instead do the meat and potatoes draft. Taking lots of linemen and shoring up the defense. Overall, I'm very happy with the draft. I'm very, very happy with it. And we're going to go ahead and advance 1 week so we can sign UDFAs. And then we will also set our draft class strength for next year. Okay, so our QB class for next year is looking to be a weak one as well. We're also going to be weak at running back, very weak on the interior defensive line, so I'm glad that we had our 2 picks there that we were able to get done. It's a strong corner class, a weak safety class, and it's also a strong tackle class. So we do have a little bit more variety going forward now that we're going to be able to incorporate into our classes. And the thing is, next year's QB class also does not look good. It's a weak class as well, so we're really going to have to try and see if we can find anything at quarterback. I'm going to sign Damian Martinez back to the active roster. We didn't bring him back in free agency, but definitely going to give him a chance to compete for a running back spot. Well, that is going to do it. I think that we had a very strong offseason. I think the miss on Turk kind of overshadows the rest of what I thought was a really good offseason, and we got a lot better. But I'm really, really excited to get into preseason. I've yet to decide if I'm going to play out all the preseason games, if I'm going to play the moments, exactly what I'm going to do. I want to get some gameplay going here for you guys to watch this, but I really appreciate you guys sticking around. Let me know what you thought of the draft, if you think that the offseason was productive and good for us. And if you enjoyed, definitely go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you have not. We're going to be keeping on pushing out more Raiders franchise to you as quickly as possible. And I really appreciate you guys watching, and thank you all for the support, and I'll see you next time. Take care.